Welcome back to the Adventitious Adventures podcast. Before we jump in, again, I just want to say thank you to anyone that has been listening so far. I really am grateful for, all of you. And with that being said, make sure to like and follow so you know when there are any updates and also can know when episodes are released. As before, all of these episodes can be found on YouTube, and you can also read the episodes for yourself on WordPress.com under the same name. So, after braving the temple, the party returned to plead their case against those involved with the Temple of Bright Light. The trial managed to get heated for at least a couple of them, with Malvis being sent off to jail, and eventually the rest of the party as well. That night they were approached by a group of masked people, who turned out to be in the employ of Inara's mother. After meeting her, she let them know that the way her daughter could accomplish what she was tasked to complete would be by braving a dungeon in search of a flame. Coincidentally, something that the party had been tasked with from another citizen. Heading to the dungeon, the party goes inside, facing off against strange creatures and earning their own scrapes and bruises. Will they be able to find the flame? And if so, be able to even contain it? The story opens with the party waiting in the underground facility, deciding what way they should go. Malvis had been hurt just enough that he decided to go into his vessel, leaving it with Inara to hold. Just as the party begins to move once more, they hear footsteps rushing up from behind them. It ends up being Chop, who had found them by getting information from Anya, Inara's mother. Even though it is obvious the party has been through some things, Chop launches into telling them that Titanius sent her to tell them he needs their aid. The North is attacking the South, and there seems to be a fleet of ships invading. This is very interesting information, considering how much Titanius has made it clear that he does not respect the rest of the party, and they are all a little surprised that Chop stood up for them. However, they end up telling Chop that they will help, but only after they finish what they had started. Chop agrees, and the party heads further through the dungeon. In the next room, their scene ends up not being much of anything beyond dead bodies. The party moves slowly, in case of any traps or creatures, but only once they are almost at the next turn do they see anything of importance. Near the wall, there's a line of blood that seems to be fresh, as if something has moved through very recently. Upon checking it out, the other Babau that had escaped from earlier appears. After some maneuvering, the party is able to defeat the creature and move on through the dungeon. As they enter the next area, the party is talking about what to do, and Chop is confused, and maybe a little hopeful of a worse fate, about where Malvis had gone. Just as Inara finishes explaining that he is just in the vessel around her neck, another foe appears, a Balgura. The creature had apparently been cloaked, since none of the party had noticed them in the room. Quickly they all prepare themselves and work together to take the creature down. A silence seems to settle over the dungeon as the party searches the immediate area to see if there's anything of importance. Seeing nothing, however, they continue through a narrow section. Rounding a bend in the pathway, they finally see it, a glowing blue flame. The party checks around to see if there could be any traps or obstacles, but see nothing. With the path clear, Inara approaches the flame, handing the mace that they had bought earlier to someone else. As soon as she is close, she can feel a strange sensation as the stone on her necklace begins to absorb the magic. It is powerful enough to lift her up into the air as it is contained, the stone changing to red, and the flame extinguished. The room now darkened, and their mission apparently completed. The party heads back out of the dungeon and back to Anya's home to rest and recover. She greets them welcomely, noticing that they accomplished what they went for, and Chop asks if there has been any word from Titanius. Anya tells them that they have been gone for over a day, but nothing has been reported. Hoping to hear more after a rest, the party begins to head into the house, but are stopped by the sound of horses. Southern guards approach, telling that the North is coming close. They urge any able-bodied individuals to head to the west to meet the ships. At the news, Anya whispers to one of the cloaked men who is standing nearby, and she leaves. She then turns to the party, saying that she believes they should follow the order, but to travel by wagon, so they are still able to rest and heal from what they had just been through. The party agrees and climbs into a covered wagon that was provided for them. They travel longer than they realize, and soon start to hear commotion from all around them. Peeking out, they see large amounts of southern forces gathered together, and after a little while longer, begin to hear the sound of waves. The wagon stops and they find themselves atop a cliff, looking out at a port town below. In the distance, large ships emitting smoke are getting closer. It appears this is not the North, like previously thought. It is something that no one has ever seen before. Chop looks through the crowd and finds Anya asking her if she has seen anything like this. She responds saying it is definitely not the North. It is much, much worse. In fact, it is something she has feared the most. She tells them that 2,000 years ago, the land was blocked off for fear of Tharizdun, but now it seems that the people of the other lands had found a way through. As the party watches the ships approach, they see many races of peoples they had never encountered before. There were humanoid creatures flying between the ships, blue-skinned elves coming up from the seas, and all manner of other interesting creatures and humans. Anya is still watching the ascent, a look of deep fear present on her face. The party asks why she is so afraid, since as the ships have come closer, it is easy to see that they have raised white flags of peace. Anya does not fully explain why she seems on edge, but she does tell them that these people are not from the same land as Onara's father. They are from a land called Eskai. Shortly after, the ships finally make landfall, and with them all manner of peoples. On one of the ships came a group of mages. They disembark and are greeted by some of the southern leaders. The party hears a familiar goblin voice and see that Titanius's group are among the leaders. Chop goes to join them as a tiefling man approaches. He is speaking in a language that no one is able to understand, but quickly one of the mages casts a spell so that everyone gathered will know what he is saying. The man tells them that they wish for peace and to make contact with the lands beyond theirs. Chop, who is standing close, shakes the tiefling's man's hand, but is then interrupted by the town leader, who up until this point had been hiding. He approaches, saying how he and the town of Wallenwick are happy to welcome them. The town leader introduces Titanius's group, including Chop, as the land's champions, very intentionally not mentioning the rest of the party. The tiefling leader greets them, introducing himself as Valdin Tekinar, before saying that he has brought with him treasure. As the party and those gathered are intrigued by this and all talking, the town leader once again cuts in. He asks about where all of these peoples come from. Valdin explains that this land had been only a myth until, with the defeat of Tharizdun, the mist cleared and they were able to see land. They hoped to learn more about what once did not exist. He seems truthful, and after a moment of deliberation, the town leader decides they will throw a feast in honor of their guests. He turns to the party, however, and argues with them, telling them to send a message that there is peace in the land and with the others. As the others gather to leave, Hobbs tries to tell them to visit Meroz before they are all approached by a rather interesting person. They look identical to Mitram, but something seems off. A second later, the person's appearance changes into a young woman with very light skin and hair and black eyes. She introduces herself as Tam and says that she is a representative for the changeling race. Tam repeats the idea of being here to establish contact with this land and exploration. The party asks her about what the smoke was that was coming from the ships, and Tam explains about coal fuel as they make their way to the center of town. The party eventually reaches the town center, where tables and other important things have been set up for a grand feast. While they were walking, it appears that Anya has disappeared. As the party sits down, they are given food. However, it seems that Mitram is still rather skeptical about the whole ordeal. But not all of the party feels this way, though. Inara turns to Tam, who had been seated near them, and asks about if she has heard anything of anyone coming through the mist until now. Tam seems hesitant to say anything, but eventually says that yes, she has heard rumors, but it was only one person from a land named Khafra. As she says this, it is very obvious that she is uncomfortable, and eventually says that she doesn't know if it is true, because not many talk of Khafra, because they are not good people. In the moment of silence following, Hobbs asks about the stars, but is cut off by Nara asking what makes the people of Khafra so bad. Tam reluctantly explains that the people of that land are reckless and have no reservations about sacrificing their own. Unsure of what else to say about that, Inara is quiet, feeling uncomfortable and a little bit alone. As they finish talking, the feast seems to begin in earnest. An elf woman comes by and hands the party drinks. Looking inside, it does not seem to be very appetizing, appearing to be a thick, black liquid. Tam attempts to warn them that the drink is very strong, so they should be careful, but before she can say anything, Inara, Hobbs, and Chop all down their cups. Somehow, they are all able to stomach the thick liquid, but it very shortly begins to affect them. Chop and Inara do not seem completely changed from the drink, only getting louder and more at ease with everything around them. Hobbs, however, seems to be very, very drunk, rising from his seat and removing his robe before changing into his starry form and dancing around. As more time goes by, the more affected the three of them are. Inara decides to go around and ask about her father, but because she is feeling the strong ale, she does not get much information. Hobbs seems to be the life of the party. As he is moving around, he sees Mitram, and his drunken state makes him appear to be turned into a woman. He begins to follow Mitram around, trying to get his attention, and calling him Maribel. Seeing this, Mitram enlists Stephanie's help and drags Hobbs out of the feast and over to the local inn. They find out the inn has been completely paid for, and get a room for Hobbs and themselves before practically pushing the druid up the stairs. Once they finally get into a room, Hobbs turns and grabs Mitram, thinking he is Maribel, and kissing him. Stephanie helps to once more subdue him before they leave him to sleep it off and head to their own room, still remaining cautious about what is happening around them. Back down at the center of the town, the feast is still in full swing. Chop is hanging with many groups of people, enjoying her night, and Inara, noticing that Anya still has not returned from wherever she had gone, decides to search for her. However, being fairly drunk, she does not make much progress, and after asking one of the sea elves if they have any information, instead ends up making out with him and forgetting what she was searching for. The party rages on into the night, eventually fading out as morning comes. Nara wakes up with a feeling that someone is watching her. Opening her eyes, she sees a cloaked figure standing above her. As the figure leans closer and whispers that it is not safe, she sees that it is her mother. Rising and following her, Nara is surprised as Anya leads her through the different camps of people and away from the city to a wagon similar to the one the party had come in. Getting into the wagon, Anya admits to Nara that her father had come from Khafra, and he came to this land after finding a magic which allowed him to do so. Anya again talks about how it is not safe to stay, and urges Inara to leave with her. After a moment of deliberation, Inara agrees, and the wagon pulls away. Hobbs awakens feeling very strange. He seems to have wrapped the sheets around him in a toga-like fashion as he slept. A knock on his door arouses him, and he goes to answer. A young boy is on the other side, who asks if he is Mitram. He tells him he is not, and then asks the boy to show him where the bath is. Mitram wakes up Stephanie as a small knock sounds on the door as well. Answering it, they see the same boy who had talked to Hobbs minutes earlier. The boy hands him a letter before disappearing. Mitram opens it to find a message urging him to come to the hill overlooking the cliff, alone or with his companions. It does not say. Readying themselves, Mitram and Stephanie head to the rendezvous point, where they see an old man, who then leads them to a small, wheeled building. As they enter, they are greeted with the end of a rapier, and a familiar face. The senders of the message were none other than Bill and the princess. He asks where the others are, and Mitram sort of dodges the question as the princess explains why they're here. She says that her father is dead, and the North has now fallen into a civil war. She asks for Mitram's help, being that he still has ties to the North. Meanwhile, Chop awakens in the same area she had been drinking in the night before. She gets up and begins to acclimate herself with everything, before being approached by Tan. The woman asks where her companions are and offers to help her find them. As they are searching, the tiefling leader Valden comes and congratulates Chop for her acts of heroism. He asks for her help in bringing peace between the peoples of this land and those he brought with them. He also questions why her companions are not respected. Before Chop can answer, however, they hear trumpets sounding and turn to see a group of people approaching. Just as they are about to question what is going on, a voice sounds out, announcing the arrival of the Modiri family from the land of Bashad and the greater Bejan Empire. Okay, this episode was so intricate and integral for a lot of things that are going to be happening for a greater portion of the rest of this campaign. Honestly, pretty much the rest of it is affected in some way by everything that just happened in this episode. We meet new races, new people. Valden is someone that you will start hearing a lot about, and he has some very big implications to everything that's going to happen in the future. You also get some more backstory, and you'll even get more backstory in the coming weeks with the arrival of some people and their connections to the party. And just, it's very important of what's happening. These people from the land of Askai. Askai is something that will be touched on and a little more fleshed out, but is very important for the events that will transpire going forward for pretty much the rest of the campaign. And yeah, this was, again, such a good episode. Like, I love where all this is going. It's fun to remember all of this and how it happened and just go back into that, because all of this was super important and super fun to just discover and see where it went. Next time actually will be an episode that will focus a little bit more on just select members of the party. It kind of follows Anya and Inara kind of leaving and what happens after that and what they discover. And they may have a stowaway, so that's all interesting as well. So that's what the next episode will kind of touch on, and you'll get to see a little bit more relationship forming and, connections and, just how things play out from there. And it has some implications, again, also of something that my character did that then lives with her forever. But with that, hope you have a good day, and thanks for listening.